Hello and welcome to Competology Academy. And today we are going to discuss the UPSC mains paper, and this series is going to be the series which will cover holistically all the papers related to the UPSC Civil Services mains exam, whether it is essay, whether it is general studies paper, all the full papers, as well as we will cover the papers that will include the geography optional and the history optional, those courses which are available at our institute, right? So here today we will start with the paper discussion of the essay paper, that is the paper 1 in respect of the UPSC Civil Services mains exam. And those who have not subscribed our channel, please go on to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload such videos or whenever we are live, right? So let us start with the discussion. First of all, here the first question of section A, here it says that thinking is like a game. It does not begin unless there is an opposite team. So here it clearly says that one person have to do the brainstorming, to have to choose between different options. If somebody have to do some work, then he will have to choose or pick between 2 or 3 or more options. And in respect of that, what happens? Different kinds of pros and cons, different kinds of conflicting ideas will be there in the mind of any person, and because of that there will be the thinking, the brainstorming that will go on in his mind. The person will have to indulge in that, he have to do that, and for that matter it becomes a game. It becomes a game where two opposing thoughts are fighting with each other, playing with each other to supersede over one another, right? So that is the process of thinking. So what does the meaning will come out? The meaning will be thinking is when one have to choose between two contrasting options or the viewpoints. Two contrasting options or the viewpoints are available to any person. Like suppose that a person have to move from point A to point B. So he will have different routes. So he will go on to think that which one is the best possible route, in which he will have to indulge in less amount of time, less cost will be incurred to move from A to B. So such kind of thinking process, just it is an example to make it clear, right? So he will think for that, whether to choose the route 1, route 2 or route 3 to move from point A to point B. So here thinking is a general human tendency. Thinking is a general human tendency. Everybody does the thinking, whether the decision is of a small matter or whether it is a big corporate issue, political issue, national issue. So every person in his life have to do the thinking, have to go through the thinking process, right? So here two viewpoints compete with each other in your mind. Competing viewpoints will be there, and because of that you will have to do the thinking, and times when one overweighs the other. So at certain point of time you will think that the first option is better, in the second time you will think that the second option is better. So likewise the tug of war goes in your mind, and for that matter you have to do the thinking, right? Now why one need to think? What is the requirement of thinking? Why one should indulge in thinking? So there are basic things like problem solving. Any particular problem, any particular issue is in front of you, and for that matter you have to think about the solution. For that matter, then you have to do the thinking. Then only you will arrive at a best possible option, whether it will be suitable or not, but everybody does the thinking for that matter, that what to do and what not to do, right? And here one more thing, your essay should have a flow, and for that matter first of all you have to understand the topic, you have to understand the keywords, the meaning of the issue in front of you, the topic in front of you about which you have to write the essay. Then only you will be in a better position to communicate your opinion to the evaluator, and the only way to communicate your opinion to the evaluator is your written script. But what you will write, that will depend on what you understand about the topic. Then only you will go on to start writing. You have to structure it also. So for that matter, the whole series of this playlist of this how to write an essay is available on our YouTube channel. So you can go on to watch that also, as well as we are going to launch the courses for that matter also. So here, the analyzing and evaluating of the available options is done through the process of thinking. So one have to analyze, think rationally, and thereafter evaluate which one is the better option for any particular issue. Just I am providing you the keywords. You have to elaborate on that, and you have to provide the examples also, right? Then only with the example it will be more clear, it will be more easy to understand what you want to say for the evaluator. And until and unless what you want to say is effectively being communicated to the evaluator, you will not get good marks, right? So here you have to analyze, you have to evaluate the available options so as to get to a particular best possible option or best possible solution of any issue, and for that matter you have to do the thinking, right? Now it is also required for achieving the intended objective. Like you have to achieve some particular objective, like you have to reach out to any particular destination, you have to achieve like a particular success in any particular examination. So you have to do the thinking for every aspect of life in which you have to achieve any particular objective. Like if you want to be successful in civil services, then you will have to do the thinking to choose between different available options of coaching, or whether not to go for coaching, do the self study. For that matter also you will have to think. Thereafter you will have to think about which study material you have to choose, how to utilize it, how to prepare it. So all these things needs the thinking to achieve the intended goal, and all the human activities need thinking. Every particular thing needs thinking. You may think that I do just everything like that, or I don't think so much, but that is not the fact. Psychologically you have to go on to think for any particular issue, right? Now what are the dimensions of thinking? There are different dimensions of thinking related to who is thinking, for what he is thinking, and what he intends to achieve through that particular thinking process, through that particular brainstorming process. So here first one is, any individual can go on to think about his individual issues, his individual objectives he want to achieve. So that remains with a particular person, that remains with a particular individual, right? Next, societal level. At the societal level, at the society level, again the thinking goes on. The whole members of the society will go on to think for the betterment of the society, what they need to do to make the social issues better, to solve any social issues. So such kind of things goes on. So you have to elaborate. These are just the keywords. You have to put the keywords and you have to write the paragraph on this. Thereafter, political thinking, like everybody knows that the political parties are always thinking about winning the election. So that is a different thing. Again, if you want to think about the political thinking, then not for the election only, but for the betterment of the nation, for betterment of the state or any particular region also, the politics is involved, and for that matter the political thinking should be there, right? Next is economical thinking, like for thinking process itself, there is chief economic advisor in the country. You have to think about the economy of the country itself. So all the bureaucrats who are assisting, who are working under the ministers of the related department, they have to think, they have to do the brainstorming for achieving the intended goal, intended objective for that particular ministry or department, right? So same as well, the economical thinking, economy. Every nation is thinking about improving its economy, improving its GDP, improving its forex reserve, improving its trade. So likewise, the economical thinking is also a process of thinking, a dimension of thinking. Geopolitical thinking, geopolitics. Again, here, too much of thinking, various think tanks you will find. So you have to elaborate about this also. You can quote the examples also, like that of balancing of India between the West and Russia. How the Ukraine-Russia war have not done too much of the damage to the international relations of India, whether we see it with the Western countries or whether we see it with the Russia. So likewise, India have done a good balancing between both of the groups of nations, the communist as well as the capitalist. So likewise, you will have to elaborate this also, that the geopolitics also needs too much of thinking. What kind of word to use, how to mention the statement, how to mention the issues, how to balance the issues, all these things would be discussed over here. Next, public welfare. Again, here everybody needs to think that what would be better for the development of the people, for improving their livelihood, for improving their employment level. Proper remuneration should be there, proper health condition should be there, proper nutritional values should be there. So for all these matters, again the government have to think, the government have to do the brainstorming. And here, with respect to the government, I am not just talking about the politicians, but if you go on to say the government in the public affairs, then all the officials who are working for the government come under the definition of government, right? You should not say that color ko to hum log government mante hi nahi hai. That is not the issue. You have to consider that also, right? So again, one dimension will be the public welfare. For that matter also, the thinking have to be done, right? Next is environmental thinking. After 1972, the environmental issues came to the fore globally, and after the Rio Earth Summit 1992, it became a major issue of discussion in the geopolitics, right? And in every forum, in fact, you have the dedicated forums, dedicated platforms to discuss the global warming, to discuss the climate change, to discuss the environmental issues. So again, what they are doing, while they are discussing, they are thinking also. They are providing varied options, varied opinions. Everybody is doing the brainstorming, how to reduce the effect of environmental pollution, how to solve the environmental issues, the carbon trading, the reduction of emission, moving towards the non-conventional energy sources. All these are the outcome of thinking in search of various options to achieve the intended objective of restricting the ill effects of environmental pollution and reduce the environmental pollution itself. So again, you have to do your thinking, and various other issues. These were the major issues, so these were mentioned. In the other issues, you can so note down or you can write down as many number of issues as you can think, as many number of dimensions that come in your mind. Again, now here two different ways of thinking, positive thinking and negative thinking. You can also say it as constructive thinking and the destructive thinking. Many of the people are having good brain, but always their mind goes in a destructive way, right? So again, this is an issue. कुछ लोग कहते हैं ना कि भाई बहन खुराफाती होते हैं, तो वही चीज है कि पॉजिटिव थिंकर्स आर द क्रिएटिव थिंकर्स व्हाइल द नेगेटिव थिंकर्स आर द डिस्ट्रक्टिव थिंकर्स. खुराफाती ही मिलेंगे वो, राइट? सो हियर for the positive thinking matter, what were the outcomes? The United Nations organizations, World Health Organization, World Bank, etc. The UNO was a positive outcome of positive thinking of maintaining peace throughout the world, ensuring the global peace, right? Next, WHO, ensuring the better health worldwide. So again it was the outcome of positive thinking. World Bank for reconstruction and the development of developing and the underdeveloped countries, to ensure low cost loans to them, to ensure high aids to them, to provide the financial resources to those countries or organizations which are in need, to ensure the development of the global humanity. And this was an outcome of positive thinking. So you likewise you can mention various other organizations also, right? Now what are the impacts of negative thinking? Here negative thinking, World War was an outcome of negative thinking. Germany wanted the hegemony throughout the world. They were in search of Lebensraum. They were in search of more natural resources for their development. They wanted the control over most of the world, and for that matter what happened? The World War I and World War II was the outcome of negative thinking of the leadership of the Germany, right? Next, nuclear proliferation. Again it is a negative thinking. Negative thinking of what? Making the other nations fearful of the nuclear weapons you possess. If any nation is having the nuclear weapon, then always there is a fear of nuclear fallout in different regions of the world, in the vicinity of those nations specifically which possesses the nuclear weapon. Whenever the tension between India and Pakistan escalates, always the world leaders are fearful of Pakistan may be using the nuclear weapon, because they are not so responsible in the public sense, in the global sense, in the environmental sense. So basically they are running a kind of corporate military services, where the army of the Pakistan is working for the profit motive. Even they go on to fight for different nations on paid basis, right? So that is again an outcome of the negative thinking, right? So here it will be the approach of the essay, and thereafter you will have to write the conclusion, and in that conclusion you will have to write accordingly whatever you think about the thinking process, and you will have to criticize the negative thinking and press and focus upon the positive thinking, right? And everybody should do the thinking to get a best possible way to get the intended objective or the outcome of what they want, right? Now the next question of section A was visionary decision. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. So this was a quote that was given by Paul O'Brien, a British thinker, right? And he was a great visionary himself, and he was of the view that the visionary decision making. So again you will have to understand the meaning of the visionary decision making. We will discuss it. So here he says that the visionary decision making, basically the crux is that the visionary decision making will make the ground breaking changes, make the paradigm shift, make the you can say radical changes in the future. It is focused on the future perspective, and the visionaries are of the view that such kind of things, such kind of actions will bring such kind of changes. So here the keyword is, that is visionary decision making, intersection, intuition and logic. So intuition and logic will be the focus point. You will have to discuss the visionary decision making, what is it. Thereafter, how does a person makes the visionary decision making after he utilizes his intuition and evaluates it with his logic, with rationality. So likewise the approach of the essay will be there. So here visionary decision making is a quality of leadership. Everybody knows that the leaders are visionary decision makers, visionary leaders, right? So here the essay will start, and first of all you will have to discuss what is this visionary decision making, right? So here it is focused on the futuristic changes that will completely change the future, with respect to any particular thing, or holistically you can say that, like the invention of mobile phone, the invention of that of internet. So all these things were visionary changes. If we talk about in Indian context, then UPI. So it was again a visionary step, it was a visionary decision, right? So it brings radical changes. Even you may have watched that video that is going on viral, that the German representative was there in India during the G20 summit, and he was with one of the Indian official, and he purchased some of the vegetable and made the payment after scanning the QR code, phone pay QR code or whatever may be there, to the shopkeeper, and he was stunned with that. He was completely stunned with that. He was awful for that matter, that how is it working? I don't have to carry the cash. If I am having the mobile phone, then it is more than enough to do any kind of transactions. So that was a radical change. That was a radical change through the visionary thinking of the officials working in the finance ministry, right? So innovation and creativity is involved with visionary decision making. Many kind of innovations, like that touch screen, that was the visionary decision making, or that was the visionary research, visionary, that you can say, output of Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. So such kind of visionary decision makings will lead to innovation and creativity. And this creativity may be related to that of art sector also. You can say that the writers are also having that of creativity, visionary decision making, such kind of thing. As well as the visionary decision making involves immediate action, because if you don't take the immediate action, then the opportunity is lost, because you have to make radical changes, and for that measure swift action is needed, immediate action is needed. So the visionary decision making involves immediate action also. Thereafter, targeted action. Your action should be in a particular direction to achieve that particular goal. All these things should be discussed in your essay. These are the keywords which will fetch you good marks, right? So targeted action is needed, and you will have to take difficult choices. Many of the, in fact, most of the people, common masses, are initially against the some kind of visionary decisions. Initially, even the people were of the view with respect to the UPI that this will increase the fraud, and in fact it happened. But the convenience, the ease of transaction outweighs the quantum of fraud that is going on through UPI, and gradually UPI is also improving, and it is being made more secure, and more safety features are being added to UPI. But initially it was a difficult choice, because the government was also not well confirmed, or you can say we are not confident that whether it will be accepted by the public or not, right? So that was an issue, but the difficult choice was made, and now you can say even a chai wala is taking the UPI payment, a vegetable shopkeeper, ready wala, everybody is taking the UPI payments. So it has easily changed the whole scenario of whole paradigm shift has come with respect to the transactions that are going on in India, and many of the nations are of the view that they should also accept this UPI system. They should also launch this UPI system in their own country, right? So here UPI was one of the visionary decision. Direct benefit transfer, same as that. It was again I was using the UPI as an example, but there are various other such visionary decisions are there, right? Nowadays, the acceptability of the EVs are not that much widely accepted within India. But gradually, again, it is a visionary decision. Gradually, the acceptability of the EVs will increase. Likewise, many of the people we are saying that the direct benefit transfer is not beneficial because one person or the family headman, family leader will get the money in whose name the ration card has been established. So that may be misused, or the fluctuation of market prices may again will lead to the problematic situation for the people who are poor, who are below poverty line people. But again, DBT was launched and now it is more beneficial. Even the people are meeting their day-to-day needs, and after that even they are saving some amount of money they are getting through the direct benefit transfer. So that is the situation. So again, it was a visionary decision, right? Now, what are the elements of visionary decision making? Again, there are various elements through which you have to do the visionary decision making. First of all, the risk taking ability. If you are having the ability to take risk, then only you will be in position to do the visionary decision making, because many of the things are there involved in that kind of visionary decisions that may not be accepted well among the masses. They may not lead to the intended objective. That may also be the case. So likewise, you have to take the risk. You have to have the risk taking appetite. Like Mukesh Ambani had taken the risk with respect to the 4G, and even he had taken the risk of providing free of cost services for 18 months to the public, to the masses, first of all to acquire the consumers. But it may have been so that many of the people would have shifted back, because earlier it was happening from 2006-7 to 2014-15, 2014 in fact, there were various telecom service providers. But what was happening? Every day some new type of offer was being launched by any new service provider. The people were having one main SIM and one second SIM, and that second SIM used to change frequently according to the better offer they were getting from any particular service provider. So that was the situation. That may have happened with Jio also, but he took the risk and he provided the service in such a way that he survived. In fact, he created a kind of monopoly. Only 2 to 3 options. Basically, 2 options are there in the market. VI is also struggling. BSNL is surviving just because of the government support. Otherwise, the services of BSNL, I think that is being made worst deliberately. I am experiencing the problem of the bad service of BSNL optical fiber. It was working well before the launch of Airtel and Jio fiber services in my locality, and as soon as these services were launched, now after 3 years, after continuous good service of 3 years from BSNL, nowadays the BSNL is one of the worst service provider in my locality, and most of the people are shifting to the private service providers. That is the situation right now. So that may be the case. So here, risk-taking appetite should be there for doing the visionary decision making. Next, the long-term perspective should be there. Long-term perspective will only work as the visionary decision making, because you will have to change the future. Futuristic decisions should be there. Radical decisions should be there. Like if you say about the transport and communication system in India, so now India has become the second largest country with respect to the total road network in India by length, right? India has the second largest road network within the world, right? So that is the visionary decision to improve the transport and communication system so as to improve the ease of doing business, ensure the manufacturing sector's development, ensure the urbanization of various regions, ensure the development of the underdeveloped regions, to improve the regional balanced development, to decrease the regional disparity with respect to development between different regions. So that is a visionary decision in which the investment is being made, and it is having a long term perspective, as well as you will have to take the unconventional approach. So what was the conventional way of launching the telecom services within India? Everybody was going for, first of all, the 3G. If we go on to talk about the earlier situation, everybody was going on to go for 3G, and none of the company had, even the 4G spectrum was being auctioned, none of the company was there to purchase the 4G spectrum. So it was sold very cheaply. But what Jio did, what Reliance did, they purchased directly the 4G spectrum and they launched it. So they had an unconventional approach. What nobody was doing, they started to do. Again, if we go on to talk about the climate change, then again the shifting towards the EVs is an unconventional approach. Gradually you may say that this is the conventional thing, everybody is purchasing the EVs, but till date the vehicles running on the petroleum products, diesel or gasoline, is the conventional way of transport, conventional way of energy supply to the transport and communication system. And the unconventional way is what? Unconventional way is the EVs, right? Again, it should be human and society centric. Until and unless it is human and society centric, then you cannot say that it is a visionary decision, right? If you are doing for yourself only, then how it is a visionary decision if it is not going to change the life of the masses, like that of the EVs will lead to the better environmental condition, it will restrict the temperature rise, it will reduce the climate change. So it is better for the humanity, it is better for the society, right? Now, what are the drawbacks of such kind of visionary decision making? So first of all, the visionary decision making is based on two things: intuition and logic. First of all, you will have an intuition in your mind that if I will do this, then such kind of changes will be there. For that matter, I have to do this. That intuition will come in your mind. Thereafter, what will happen? You will have to analyze your intuition and the options for the intended objective that are available to achieve it. Logically, rationally, with data, with stats, as well as you have to take the suggestion from the people who are capable of providing suggestion with respect to that particular thing. Thereafter, only you will arrive at a visionary decision. So here, if based only on intuition, I think this should be done, then I will achieve this, that intuition comes in your mind and straight away you want to take the decision. So that will do what? That will cause the reckless and disastrous decisions. That may be reckless, that you in your mind one thing came, you took the decision, that was a reckless decision, that was a disastrous decision, and that led to the bad impact of you to the masses, the whole system failed. Such kind of things may happen. You may say that the demonetization was one of that kind of decision, right? Again, less possibility of achieving the intended goal. So what was the objective of demonetization? Restricting the hoarding of black money. But did that occurred? Nowadays even the ED is getting too much of money hoarded with the corrupt officers, with the tax evaders. So various people are there with whom still the black money is there. So that intended objective was not achieved. Next intended objective was what? To eradicate the forged currencies from the market. But within few years again, the circulation of the forged currency is there within the market. So the intended objective was not achieved. Next, it is based only on logic. If it is based only on logic, then you will indulge too much of time will be wasted in thinking. ये कर लेते हैं, वो कर लेते हैं, इसको करेंगे ऐसे, ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. Various kind of analysis is going on in your mind, as well as you have took the pen and paper writing everything. That will lead to the delay in decision making, that will lead to overthinking, that will lead to the loss of opportunity. So there should be a balance between intuition and logic, and for that matter it is said that the visionary decision making is done at the intersection of logic and intuition, right? So that is the thing. Now, process of visionary decision making. How does a visionary decision making is done? So there is no practical or the set course to take the visionary decisions. It is in general, the people studied, the psychologists and the various researchers have studied, and they may have come to such kind of thing. So here, identify the target or the goal to be achieved in future. So what kind of goal, what kind of target you want to achieve in future? So first of all, identifying the issue, that is the thing. Thereafter, what are the possible ways to achieve that goal? You have to come to the options, come to the methods, come to the ways in which you can reach to that intended goal. Thereafter, what intuition says, what does your intuition says with respect to that particular issue, right? That if I will do this, then I will achieve the goal. If I will do this, then again I may achieve the goal. So that is the intuition, right? Next, develop the logical thinking. You should have a logical and rational mind. You should understand the things logically. You should understand the pros and cons of any issue. Then only you will be in position to think logically. So logical thinking should be developed, and analyze the possible ways logically and rationally. Thereafter, if you have the logical mind, then you have to, after that, analyze the issues logically and rationally, right? So if you will analyze the issues logically and rationally, then you will choose the best possible way to achieve your intended goal, and balance the intuition and the logic. What your intuition says, what the logic says, you have to get to a balancing position in the decision making between the intuition and the logic. And thereafter, discuss them with your team members also. There may be the situations that when some of your logics may fail, some of your intuitions may be wrong. So that help of rectifying those errors will come from your team members. If you are working for an organization, for a company, for a department, for the government, for the ministry, then such kind of team will be available with you. If you are doing for your individual life, individually you have to take any decision, then your team members will be your family members. So discuss with them, then you will arrive at a better position, better option. Now here the case studies, you can quote the example of Armstrong Pema, the IAS officer who is also known as the Miracle Man of Manipur. And why he is known as the Miracle Man of Manipur? Because there was a remote village in Manipur, in the district in which he was the IAS officer, he was the magistrate of that district, right? DM of that district. So what happened? Many of the people came to him from that village that we don't have the connectivity to the road, and because of that we suffer too much with respect to the transport and the communication. Even if a person gets ill, then we have to take him on our shoulder to the hospital for 100 kilometers. And when he reached to that village, then he was also stunned that such kind of pathetic situation is there. So he wrote to the government that there is a need of road connectivity to this particular village, and for that matter we need the fund to construct the road. But what happened? Time and again he was writing to the government, but no reply came from the government, and thereafter he took a visionary decision of taking the matter into in his hand, and he constructed 100 kilometers of road. After doing the fundraising on various social media platforms, he himself contributed 5 lakh rupees. He took the help of the villagers. He took the help of various contractors who were working in that region. So after the collective effort of all these, that 100 kilometer road was constructed without any government help. And that was the visionary decision of Armstrong Pema. So he must be appreciated for that. Definitely he was a visionary person. Right. Now you can also mention the example of E. Sridharan, the metro man, who is also known as the father of the Konkan Railway. Even during the British colonial era, there was a proposal to construct a railway line through the Western Ghats, but all the European engineers denied that in such kind of rugged topography, in such kind of lush forest area, swift moving rivers, heavy rainfall, wetlands, backwaters, it is impossible to construct any railway line. So there was no railway line till 1990s, and thereafter E. Sridharan took the matters into in his hand, and he constructed the railway line, the Konkan Railway, the iconic railway of the present day, right? So again he can be quoted, and he is also known for the Delhi Metro. Again he was a visionary person for that matter, because Delhi, such a densely populated area, such a crowded area, such a closely jam-packed area with respect to construction. So it was very, very difficult to construct the metro in this region, but he made it possible to construct a metro network in Delhi. So he was again a visionary person. So what will be the conclusion? The visionary decisions are the outcome of the harmony between the intuition and the logic. There should be harmony between intuition and the logic. If the dominance of any one of them will be there, then there will be difficulty in taking the visionary decisions. Intuition provides the direction and the goal to be achieved, while the logic provides the means to achieve the intended goal. So here what will happen? The intuition will provide you direction, in which direction you have to move. So different directions, different options will be made available to you through intuition. But you have to take the logic in evaluating the different options that is being provided by the intuition, and thereafter you will have to arrive at a best possible option. So that work is done by logic, right? So here the logic provides the means to achieve the intended goal in the best possible way, right? You can also use different kinds of conclusion or way forward can also be utilized. So it depends on you. Like one thing you should note, that there is no fixed way, or there is no watertight system or watertight way of writing any particular essay on any particular topic. The essay on any topic can take different directions, right? One can write in the different way, one can write in the different way. The basic thing is that you have to put forward of your idea, whatever you want to say, that should convince, that should be presented with logic, with example, with reasoning in front of the evaluator in a convincing way. Then only you will be in position to fetch good marks in essay, because the essay creates too much of disparity in the mains examination mark sheet, right? One may be getting 90 marks, one may be getting 160 marks or 165 marks, and it is possible, and I have witnessed such kind of mark sheets. So it is the way in which you are writing the essay, it is the way in which you are forwarding your ideas, you are presenting your ideas in front of the evaluator. That is the thing that makes the changes, right? So here conclusion, way forward, whatever you want, whatever the direction you want to take, that can be your own personal opinion, but you have to put it forward in a better way. Then only you will get good marks in essay. Now the next essay, question number 3, section 1, section A. Not all who wander are lost. So here simple 6-word statement, quite small but quite difficult as well, right? So here it says that not all wander are lost, and this statement was given by J.R.R. Tolkien, again a philosopher, a thinker, right? A South African born thinker who had shifted to Britain, right? So here, what does the meaning of this statement is? The reality may be opposite to what we perceive about any particular person. You may be thinking that ये आदमी भटक रहा, पला गया, क्या कर रहा है समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, दिन भर ख्यालों में खोया रहता है. That may be your opinion, but he may be doing some kind of research and kind of brainstorming, such kind of different things that may lead to something quite different. So all those who wander are not lost, right? So that is the crux of this statement. So this can be written, this essay, as I was saying, that the essay can be written in different ways. So here different approach may be there, philosophical approach may be there, that the thought process and the imagination of a person may be different. Philosophical way, thought process and imagination of a person may be different. So he may be thinking in different ways to arrive at a particular goal or arrive at a particular solution. So if he is thinking in different things, he is saying that this may be possible. So he is not lost in his mind, but he is doing the brainstorming, and ultimately he will achieve whatever the goal he wants to achieve. Theological outlook will also be there for writing this essay. Here you can quote the examples of Buddha and Mahavira. They were also the wanderers. They were searching for the enlightenment, and they achieved the enlightenment. But before achieving the enlightenment, they were wandering. They were questioning everything. So they were not lost in their life, but they were searching the bigger truth of the life. They were in search of a bigger goal in their life. They were not lost. Individual perspective can also be there, individual perception. So what we think for the others is not true always. Like somebody is going to the market and he is looking here and there and he is searching for a particular shop or particular thing. Then you may think that whether he is lost or whatever he is doing, kar kya raha hai? So that may be your thought process, but he is not lost. He is looking for some particular destination, some particular shop. So that may be again an approach to write this essay. Or the contemporary examples can also be quoted. Like you can quote the example of Jack Ma. How many times he had been rejected for a job, thereafter he started his own business and he was successful. So that may be again, he was looking for the success in his life. For that matter, he was wandering here and there, and ultimately he found success in his life by becoming an entrepreneur. So that again can be an approach to write this essay. And what we have selected is starting with an anecdote, a short story that may be a wanderer in the desert who is looking for an oasis, who is looking for water source to quench his thirst, but he is not getting easily, but ultimately he is not lost, and ultimately he will be in position to search for an oasis, a water source, and he will quench his thirst. So that story will depict in what direction you are going to take your essay, what you are going to describe, right? Again, the historical story of Columbus, like again and again he was living from the ports of Western Europe, and he was searching for the different new land areas, new land masses, and his for that matter such different countries, right? So that can again be an approach. So he was not wondering, but he was wondering, he was not lost, but he was searching for different new geographical areas throughout the globe. So here again, success is what happens after you have survived all your mistakes. So this is a quote you can mention over here, written by Enora Lee, that success is what happens after you have survived all your mistakes. You have to survive your mistakes to reach out to your success. So that will be one of the approach to write this essay. And thereafter, what are the elements of wondering? Now comes the body of your essay. This will be again the approach of your essay. So here, first is, what are the elements of wondering? First of all, exploration. Whoever wants to explore different things, new areas, new regions, so basically he is wondering. Nowadays you will find various YouTube bloggers going to the new areas. So they are not lost, they are wondering, but they are exploring the new regions, the new areas, the new geographical regions of the world. Next, personal growth and self-discovery. Through wondering, you ensure your personal growth. Like, you may not have the knowledge about the Northeast by sitting over here, but when you go on to visit that area, you are wondering in that area, then your knowledge, your personal growth about the northeastern regions, the northeastern states of India will increase. So it will be personal growth of your knowledge, and it will lead to the self-discovery, that you were not knowing many of the things. You were having some wrong notions, some wrong perceptions about the Northeast, and when you reached out over there, then you came to know about the truth, the self-discovery, that you were wrong in certain aspects which you knew about the Northeast, right? Next, accumulation of knowledge through wondering. So when you were wandering in the Northeast, you accumulated too much of the knowledge about the rivers, about the forest, about the species, about the flora and the fauna, about the tradition, culture, whatever you said, different kind of knowledge will accrue to you, right? Creativity will again be there. So whenever you are wondering, you don't know the exact way how to reach out to Northeast, so you will be looking for the various ways, means, routes, etc. So that will lead to the creativity in you, right? Innovation, you will innovate various new things while wondering. In fact, in the medieval era, many of the scientific research were accidental research, because most of the scientists, I may not mention the most, but many of the scientists were working on various metals to change their electrons, protons and the neutrons, basically their molecular and the atomic number and the masses, so as to convert the metal into gold. They were wondering how to create gold from any particular metal by changing their atomic configuration, and they were not successful in converting any of the metal to gold. But what happened? During that course of wondering to how to convert any metal to gold, they innovated various different things, various new metals, various processes, various chemical processes. So that was again an outcome of wondering, right? Path breaking discoveries will be made through wondering. Whenever you are wondering, then some of such kind of the discoveries can be made which may be unknown to everybody, right? Like just go on to watch or study about the discovery of microwave oven. Basically, that person was trying to develop a communication device, but accidentally what happened? He did a innovation that was path breaking, and that was microwave oven, right? Next, introducing changes or reforms. So again, through wondering you can introduce the changes and reforms, right? So this can also be done through wondering. Now, counter viewpoints should also be presented of wondering. Wondering is always not fruitful. That is not always good, right? But there may be certain issues with respect to wondering. So what is first thing? Avoiding uncertainty. So wondering may always not be fruitful. There may be uncertainty. So you have to avoid certain kind of uncertainty in certain cases. You cannot do wondering always. If you have to reach out to the hospital as soon as possible, then you should not wonder किस रास्ते जाए और किस रास्ते नहीं जाए. You should go on to ask to a particular person who is standing, or any person who is standing on the road, that this hospital I want to reach and what route I have to take. So you have to avoid the uncertainty. Wondering is a time wasting thing also. So whenever there is scarcity of time, you should not go on to do the wondering. You should straight away go on to look for the best possible way to save the time. Thereafter, overlooking the obligations. Many of the people, most of the people have obligations of their family. They have the obligation to support their family, to ensure their financial well-being, health well-being, nutritional well-being. So various obligations are having there with the people. So you should not overlook your obligations. You should do wondering only after fulfilling your obligations. So that should be the approach, right? Now, what are the examples? So first of all, you can go on to mention the example of women empowerment. So here what happens? There were various steps that were taken by the government for the women empowerment, like the ban on the PCPNDT, right? Ban on the female feticide, women education, financial inclusion, abolition of triple talaq, property rights being ensured to the women. So many of the people may say that the government is wondering here and there, but they are not ensuring the basic need of the women. But the basic need of the women will be achieved through these step-by-step initiatives that has been taken by the various governments since independence, right? So these all things have ensured the women empowerment, right? So that may be the example, and here you can finish off your essay. Now come to the last topic that was in section A, and it is inspiration for creativity springs from the efforts to look for the magical in the mundane. So here again it is a quote, it is a thing that should be understood well before writing the essay, because again it is a philosophical thing. So here what is the meaning? Creativity can be triggered from an ordinary thing. If you are curious and critical, right, you are having the critical mind, find something magical in it. Even the small occurrences in and around your atmosphere, in and around your environment, in and around your locality, if you are watching it and you start to find the logic behind that, your critical mind starts to think behind that, then there may be something you will find magical in it. That may be path breaking, that may be paradigm changing thing, right? So this is the meaning. And what will be the approach? You can write a quote: there is nothing insignificant in the world. It all develops. Now it all depends on how one looks at it. So this quote was written by J.W. von Goethe, again a philosopher, again a thinker. So here, generally people ignore the ordinary events occurring in and around them. This may be the introduction. You can write the introduction in different ways also. Creative mind starts looking for the logic, interconnection, answers, solutions, etc. for such events. So most of the people, ped gir gaya, okay, gir gaya, I don't care about that. I have to go to my work, my office. And most of the time you can say that such kind of creative mind, such kind of interconnection logic and other things can be analyzed by those people who are sitting over there and they don't have any work, right? That may be so, right? So here the creative mind, the critical mind may start thinking about why does this tree fall down, what was the issues, what was the circumstances, and ultimately they may find something magical in that, right? So that may be the case. Now there are examples, many examples are there of such kind of the creative minds. Like if you talk about the scientific creativity, then gravity was invented by Sir Isaac Newton. Thereafter there was a Hindi upanyas, Hindi nibandh, that was Thutha Aam, that was written by Bhagwati Saran Upadhyay. So gravity was invented by Isaac Newton when simply a apple fell down on his head, and thereafter he found that why it is moving downward, why does not it goes upward. Likewise critical thinking started in his mind, and thereafter he invented gravity. Here Thutha, Bhagwati Saran Upadhyay was once traveling and he was staying in a hotel, and in the night time what happened, there was a thunderstorm. So he saw from his window that most of the trees were moving to and fro with the wind, with the thunderstorm. But what happened, one of the tree was there which was not green tree, but it was a dried dead tree, and it was not moving. So certainly creativity, curiosity in his mind arose to relate it with the life of a person, and he wrote this Nibandh. Thereafter you can also quote the example of Zomato, that is Dipendra Goyal. He was the person who was working in the MNC in Noida, and every day he had to rush to the canteen for the lunch, and for that matter while placing the order and all those procedures, he used to have very less time to enjoy his meal, and he have to just gulp up his meal and rush back to his workstation. So this was a problem. Most of the people will ignore के चलो होता है ना भाई, भीड़ है, एक साथ लंच होता है, टाइम तो लगता ही है. But what he did, creativity came in his mind. This was an ordinary event, but he thought that how to solve this problem of wasting the time in waiting in the queue, ordering the meal, waiting for the preparation of the meal, and thereafter just gulping it up, not having the time to enjoy it, and rushing back to the workstation. So what he did, he created one website and he placed the menu, complete menu, pictures of the menu on that website of his canteen, and thereafter the contact number of the manager. And the process was simplified. Everybody was able to select their meal from that menu, and thereafter just calling up the manager before time and placing their order and getting their meal prepared beforehand. They were having the leisure time to enjoy their meal. And gradually they started to do this for other canteens, other restaurants and other things, and gradually nowadays you know that the Zomato is a $1 billion company, right? So again it was an ordinary thing, but this led to the development of a $1 billion company, right? Now you can also quote the front design of Japan's bullet train. Again, Japan's bullet train was creating the sonic boom whenever it was moving to any region. So coming out of the tunnel, entering the tunnel, passing through the crowded region. So it was creating a sonic boom. And for that matter, what happened? They were looking for the solution, and one day one of the engineer witnessed what? A bird was there which used to dive in the water without making a considerable splash. So they took the inspiration. That was an ordinary event. Most of the people would have thought that that bird is doing the fishing, and what is new in that? They get their meal from the pond, from the water, in the way of fish, but they thought that why does it is not making any splash? What is the matter behind that? They studied the design and they utilized that design to develop the front of the Japan's bullet train. So again, it was an ordinary thing that revolutionized the world of bullet trains, high speed trains, right? So it was their ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary events. So this may be the example, and other dimensions are, other things are in the arts and architecture field. Again, the ordinary events leads to the creativity of writing of some new stories, some extraordinary stories, some extraordinary architecture, some extraordinary pictures, portraits, paintings, etc. So you can discuss that also. You can discuss the startups, you can discuss the science and technology, like new inventions that are being done in the science and technology after taking the inspiration from the ordinary events occurring in and around various people, right? So that can also be the approach. You can also mention the economy, like in the economy also, again, the ordinary things are being developed as a possible business by many of the people, right? So that can again be a thing. Like energy sector, the ordinary events have led to the development of the energy sector, that the nowadays the solar energy is common thing, but whenever it had been invented, people might have thought that there is the heat energy in the sunlight, why not to utilize it? So that would have been an ordinary event for the people at that very time. Nowadays it is a source of energy. Geothermal energy may have the same kind of issue. So such things goes on, right? Many of the people would have thought that if the sugar burns, then whatever is made, whatever is utilized for making sugar, that can also burn. So why not to make the biofuel from that? So such kind of ordinary things have led to the path breaking inventions. But there are drawbacks also, like if you want to talk about artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence was again an outcome of, you can say, the common thing that the people learn from one another after imitating their actions, after witnessing their actions, after learning from their activities. Likewise, the AI gets more proficient, bigger and bigger in their decision making actions and the other things through the interaction between the human beings, right? So here this was the AI that was developed through the ordinary thinking, but nowadays it is killing the creativity and causing the employment. Earlier it was said that initially the AI will eat up the employment, eat up the work or jobs of the people of blue collar job, but what happened? The vice versa has occurred. Now the creative people, now the people who are making the paintings, who are doing the creative thinking, imaginative thinking, they are losing their work faster than those who are the people of blue collar job, right? So again, this is the problem of AI. This is the drawback of AI. May not always be fruitful for the society. Many of the creative things have occurred through the ordinary events that are not helpful for the society. You can quote many of the examples. Many of the examples are available over there, right? In some cases may lead to the destructive ideas also. If they are not fruitful to the society, then definitely they are destructive to the society, destructive ideas. So taking inspiration from the ordinary day-to-day events can lead to various innovations. This may be the conclusion. Even an ordinary event may lead to the development of such things which may prove a panacea. Panacea means जादू की छड़ी, ठीक है? So that may prove a panacea for the masses, like that of UPI. Now the people don't need to carry the chain and carry the cash. So again, that was a thing that was developed after a person witnessed. जो भी रिसर्चर लोग, उन लोगों ने देखा होगा. Nowadays the people are getting information about the website through the QR, the books, the barcode, the other things, the that of supermarkets, we are using the QR codes. Way before the QR code system was introduced in the UPI for storing the data of their inventory and the other things, and that ordinary thing may have led to the development of UPI, right? Magic lies in the human mind and its imagination power, which can find answer to many big problems. So you have to be critical of the ordinary things, बट ऐसा भी नहीं करना है कि काम धाम छोड़ के ऑर्डिनरी थिंग ढूंढते रह जाइएगा, उससे कोई स्टार्टअप नहीं चालू होने वाला है, ठीक है. सो कीप दैट इन माइंड ऑल्सो. नाउ कम टू द सेक्शन बी. Section B, question number 1, the matter related to society and the social issues. Girls are overweight down by restrictions, boys with demands, two equally harmful things. It was a quite easy topic and the people would have written, the students would have written quite easily the essay on this. First of all, the introduction, you should mention the gender disparity, and I don't need to discuss on that. Gender disparity is a quite well-known topic to everybody who are preparing for the civil services. So here again the next thing will be social, family and the cultural restrictions on the girls can inhibit their aspirations, education and the personal freedom. Quite simple and well-known statement. Similarly, the demands on the boys, often emphasizing the competitiveness, emotional restraints and the other things, like the parents pushing the boys, IIT तो क्रैक करना है, उनका बेटा बन गया डॉक्टर, मेडिकल निकाल लिया, तुम क्या कर रहे हो, 2 अटेम्प्ट हो गए, यूपीएससी नहीं क्लियर हो रहा है, ठीक है. सो सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स गोज ऑन, दैट क्रिएट्स द प्रेशर, दैट डिमांड क्रिएट्स द प्रेशर ऑन द बॉयज, राइट. सो सच काइंड ऑफ issues are creating, they are equally harmful for both boys and girls. So here girls are overweight down by the restrictions. What kind of restrictions? Priorities to the domestic restriction over the self aspiration, like you have to look after your younger siblings, you have to do this, you have to do this, खाना बनाना सीख लो नहीं तो ससुराल में जाकर बदनामी करवाओगी. Such kind of statements, such kind of restrictions are always there for the girls, right? Suppressing the emotion, right? So again the girls are suppressing their emotions, they are not coming out emotionally in front of their parents, in front of their siblings, because they are fearful of the backlashes, right? Pressure of the family and marriage. So again, first of all, the family always pressurizes the girls for the marriage, and once they get married they have the pressure of the family responsibility. So these things are again restricting their development. Compromising on the career, they have to compromise on their career. Many of the times what happened after the marriage, most of the girls are forced to be the homemaker, be a housewife, rather than focusing on their career. Many of the capable and the willing girls are unable to pursue their own career. Next, lack of financial inclusion. Even today, most of the girls, most of the women are not having the financial freedom, right? So these are the restrictions, that are suppressing the well-being of, suppressing the development of the girls. And what are the consequences? Leaving personal growth and ambitions etc. behind. They are forced to leave behind their personal growth and ambitions under these restrictions. Now the demands on the boys, what kind of demands are there on the boys? So first of all, pressure to prove the notion of masculinity, right? That you are, बोलते हैं ना, मर्द हो ये तो कर ही लोगे. So such kind of pressures are always there on the boys to prove their masculinity, to prove their capability, their bodily powers, right? Not supposed to show the emotions. Even the girls, boys are supposed that they should not shed their tear in front of anybody. They should be sakt launda, such kind of things should be there, right? तो ये चीजें एक प्रेशर रहती है. फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ हैव टू बी शोन बाय देम, दे शुड हैव द फिजिकल स्ट्रेंथ, राइट. सो अगेन देयर इज द प्रेशर दैट ये करने में तो कैपेबल हो गई, ये तो कर लेना चाहिए, सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. बीइंग डोमिनेंट इन द फैमिली, अगेन they are supposed to be dominant in the family, at least in front of the female members. Such kind of pressure are there. They are pressurized, even if a male member of the family thinks that he should go against the dowry, then the other people will pressurize him. दाहिर नहीं लेगा, इतना पढ़ा लिखा खर्चा किया क्या किया, अरे भाई जब सामने से कर रहे हो का तुम ऐसे ही हम अनपढ़ गवार भेज रहे होगा, ठीक है. तो ये चीजें हैं. Next, specific career. They are forced to choose for the specific career. Like in the family, you will see many of the families, इसको तो डॉक्टर ही बनना है, पहले से सोच लिए. He have to become an engineer, that too from IIT. He have to crack the IIT. And if somebody says that, Three Idiots में जैसे हुआ था, I want to become a writer. फिर सोच लीजिए क्या होगा, है ना. सो सच काइंड ऑफ प्रेशर्स आर देयर टू सेलेक्ट द स्पेसिफिक करियर. फाइनेंशियल बर्डन इज ऑलवेज देयर ऑन द बॉयज. Like once the education is over, then always they will be pressurized to earn money. They will not be relaxed to think about कि क्या करना चाहते हो, think about that, and वो सब चीजें नहीं हो सकती. They have to take the financial burden. They have to carry the legacy of the family. Like his father was an IAS, so he have to become an IAS. His father was a IPS, he have to become an IPS. His father was a lawyer, he have to take over his firm, law firm. So such kind of pressures are always there on the boys, right? So they get overburdened over this pressure, and what will be the consequences because of this pressure leads to the emotional breakdown, depression, stereotype, etc. And nowadays you will see that one example is that of the increasing number of suicides in quota. Many of the students in fact are committing suicide in quota. They are unable to handle this pressure. They are facing the breakdown, emotional breakdown, depression, stereotype is there. So because of this, the overall development, overall well-being of the society is at jeopardy, right? So what is the impact? Personal growth of girls and boys both is restricted. Personal growth, what they want to become, what they want to be. So their thinking, their willingness is having no value behind the restrictions and the pressure, the demands. Collective growth of the society is hindered. The gender disparity will be there always, because on one there is restrictions, on the other there is demands against the progressive ideas. Like in US, nobody will say, none of the parents want to say their children what you have to become, what do you want to do is their question. They don't dictate, and because of that too much of research, too much of the creative things come from the western countries. यहाँ पर क्या है, बस पढ़ाई खत्म हुई, लग जाओ तैयारी में, या तो प्राइवेट नौकरी कर लो, नहीं तो क्लर्क का एग्जाम दो, बैंक पीओ का एग्जाम दो. अकॉर्डिंग टू द कैपेबिलिटी यू विल हैव टू प्रिपेयर and you have to be in services, right? So that is the thing. So supporters also have their viewpoint for this kind of stereotype, this kind of pressure and the restrictions. They say that difference in the physical strength is one of the major thing because of which there are restrictions on the girls and the demands from the boys. So you have to counter this. You should counter all these viewpoints of the supporters in your essay. So for that matter, you have to mention that the women are serving in the armed forces, they are becoming the pilots of the fighter jets, everywhere they are, right? Next, cultural limitations. So what kind of cultural limitations was there earlier? Nowadays it is inexistent. They have no meaning nowadays. So that should also be countered upon. Social pressure is there. So the social pressure is also getting eradicated nowadays. Nowadays what matters? What is your choice? what quality of life, what aspirations you have in your life, you want, these kind of things should be there. So you have to counter that, right? The society is not coming to feed you. The society is not coming to fulfill your dreams. You have to fulfill your dreams by your own, and for that matter, don't bother about the society, right? So that should be the approach, and the conclusion will be examples of the achievements of the women and division of work at the house for the boys. There may be the cases where some of the parents are the progressive parents, so they go on to dictate the boys also that chal kitchen mein do sabji kat. So such kind of things goes on. So such kind of examples should be quoted upon. Now the question number 2 of section B, here it says that mathematics is the music of reason, and this was given by James Joseph Sylvester, a mathematician, a learned person, in fact a multidisciplinary person, right? So he says that the mathematics is the music of the region. So what are the similarities between the mathematics and the music? This should be discussed upon. This should be the approach of your essay here over. So set the rules and the laws in both. There are set rules and laws in the both, like the formulas and the theorems will be there in the mathematics, and the ragas and the tals in the musics. So this is the set rule. Next, new discoveries. In the mathematics, the new discoveries, new theorems, new formulas, these things are being discovered. Likewise in the music, the new types of musics are being created every day, right? Next, the state of confusion is there in the mind of the mathematician and the musician. If the mathematician is going on doing the calculation, this ये करे जा रहे derivation किए जा रहे, so ultimately there is a confusion in their mind that I don't know it but I will do it. That is the creativity. The state of confusion is a kind of creativity that I don't know it but I will do it. And same kind of confusion is there in the mind of musician also. The musicians are also sitting in tong 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 बजाया जा रहे हैं. There is a state of confusion in their mind, and ultimately, yes, I got it. This is the tune which is required. So again, they are also, I don't know it, but I will do it, right? Mathematics. Mathematicians are frustrated as the artists. So mathematicians, like the artist is trying to develop a music, they are frustrated. Oh, why it is not so? Why it is not so? I have also experienced these kind of things when I was studying in the engineering, doing the calculation. Why I am failing? Why I am failing? Why the derivation is not correct? Why the design is failing? Why the design is failing? And ultimately, after the calculation several times, you will arrive at the solution. But till the time you don't get the solution, you will remain frustrated. You will remain frustrated as an artist. Till the time the artist gets the perfect tune, the perfect music, he will remain frustrated. Ho kyun nahi raha? Same as that, the mathematician, if he is trying to derive a theorem, he is calculating, he is solving any problem, then they will remain frustrated until and unless they will prove LHS is equal to RHS, right? So that is the thing. And here, overwhelmed with the painful but pleasant discovery. So, as soon as they will reach at the answer, at the solution, at the thing what they want, they will overwhelmed, joyful, in complete mood of joy, right? But with pain, there were too much of pain that they have took to arrived at that discovery, painful but pleasant discovery, right? So this is the thing. So mathematics and reason based on the foundation of abstract reasoning and logical deduction. Mathematics and reason are based on the foundation of abstract reasoning and logical deduction. Like if sum of the value is positive on the left hand side of the is equal to, then it will become negative. So these are the logical deductions. Likewise, you will have to explain that everything, every value that is changing because of a particular derivation, because of a particular theorem, then there is a reasoning behind that, and that reasoning comes from logical deduction. So mathematics is based on the foundation, mathematics and reasoning is based on the foundation of abstract reasoning and logical deduction. You will have to elaborate this in the essay thereafter. Why mathematics is music of reason? This you should focus on, this you should elaborate in the best possible way you can do it. Right? This is the requirement of your essay. This is the crux of your essay. So here it is need of passion. Mathematics need passion. Those who love mathematics, you will find that every time when they see some kind of questions, this is good. Like many of the students will agree with my point of view. Whenever their parents used to say that go on to study, straight away they will go to their study table, they will open the mathematics book and they will start solving the mathematics, because they are passionate about them, and they will never go to study about the history, about the geography, which are the basic requirement of the civil services. So this is the thing. Again, it is very different kind of issue with the mathematicians, that they are passionate about their subject, they have the passion for mathematics, right? And same is the case with the music also, right? There is pursuit of knowledge. They are always looking for some new kind of knowledge. There is pursuit of knowledge, new kind of derivation, new kind of theorem, new kind of idea that they should develop from mathematics. That is again a thing. Logical thinking is needed. Like many of the people are there in the world, that they do not understand that why this positive becomes negative. It is if it is moved from LHS to RHS. Their logical brain is completely dead. वो sector है ही नहीं दिमाग में, right? So it needs the logical thinking. Mathematics needs the logical thinking, and then only you will be in position to be a mathematics, and you will set your tune to the music of mathematics, right? I also used to love mathematics too much. That's why I'm enjoying this. Development of the path-breaking ideas. Here, the mathematics leads to the development of path-breaking ideas. Even various scientific calculations that are being done on mathematical calculations, and thereafter, the people are able to achieve those kind of things practically, which they have proved theoretically using the mathematics. Right? So again, the path-breaking ideas can be developed using the mathematics. Right? Now, what are the outcomes? So, developments and the creations that stands the test of the time, that is done through mathematics. This is the outcome of mathematics. You will develop such kind of infrastructure, such kind of projects, such kind of various other things, theorems, etc. Right? That will stand the test of time. Technological development can be there. Mathematics have led to the development of various technologies, right? Problem solving skills can be developed through mathematics. Like mathematics, solving the mathematics itself is a problem solving skill. You have to prove LHS is equal to RHS, you have to derive the value to the fifth position of decimal, such kind of questions, matrices, determinants, etc. You will get various kind of things. So in that, the problem solving skills develop in the person, and reasoning attitude, why it is happening, right? Reasoning attitude, if this is the value, then why this is the value, why it comes, that reasoning skill will develop in the mind, in the person. Thereafter, art and architecture again uses the mathematics, like you have to do the calculation for the construction of the architecture. Even the art, the paintings use the mathematics, the aspect ratio, the size, the border line, the fronting and the other things. Like mathematics is used to show the picture in say the 2D picture, those objects which are far away in the smaller proportion than those which are nearer in the larger picture, right? So that is again having the mathematics, and the ratio to the that of the smaller picture and the bigger picture is again perfect to the mathematical calculation according to the distance. So such kind of things are again utilized in art and architecture. Again, economic significance is also there, all the statistics, all the calculation data, GDP, etc., whatever it is depends on the mathematics, right? So everybody will calculate the profit, everybody will calculate the market price, input cost, factory cost, ये वो सारा कुछ आएगा, ठीक है? Thereafter, science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM. Again, mathematics is the basic thing over here, right? So likewise, these are the outcomes of mathematics that you will have to discuss in your essay. Thereafter, come to the conclusion. Need of developing a critical attitude that requires, and for that matter, the mathematics and the music of reasoning is the best thing. Next, inculcate the technique of reasoning will lead to the development of new ideas and technology. Elaborate these things. I am just providing the keywords, the key points that you should go on to discuss, right? Will develop the problem solving attitude in a person. The mathematics will develop the problem solving in the attitude in the person, right? Now come to the third question of section B. Here it says that again related to the society and the social issues. Society that has more justice is the society that needs less charity. So again, here itself it says that the distribution of the resources, distribution of the income, distribution of the power, distribution of the authority, right? All these things are in such a way that it is just, and it is proving the justice, it is providing the justice to every person of the society. Then you don't have to do the charity for the people who are in need, who are downtrodden, who are below poverty line. So this is the crux, and this statement was given by Ralph Nader, and here the meaning itself says that the society, just society, strives to eliminate the causes of inequality. What I said, that is the crux. And here sufferings and inequality and suffering should be reduced. The causes for this should be eliminated in a just society, and this will reduce the need for the charitable assistance that is required for those people who are downtrodden, who are in need, who are not getting the adequate amount of the income, resources, and nutrition, etc. So that is the crux. Now the introduction. Here you can mention the example of nomadic tribes. Although in the present parlance you may say that nomadic tribes कितने developed थे, कौन से वो बड़े BMWs चल रहे थे. That is not the thing. According to their context, according to their society, everybody is equal in their society. Nomadic society, nomadic tribes, whatever that will be hunted down by the 4 people, if in their society, in their community, there are 30 people, all of them will get the equal distribution of that hunted animal, hunted food. Hunters and gatherers used to distribute equal amount of food among their community members. So just society was there, justice was being done with everybody. So there was no need of doing charity, like some 4 people have hunted down a particular animal for food, and now they are doing the charity. Okay, you will get 2 pieces, you will get 5 pieces, you are near and dear ones, I will get you 10 pieces. So such kind of thing was not. Equal distribution was there, and nobody was in the need of charity from anybody else, right? So what will be the dimensions of the society? Here individual is a part of society, thereafter community level, thereafter regional level, national level and world level, and at all these levels you will have to discuss, like if the individual level you say, then the education opportunity, opportunity for employment, proper nutrition, healthcare, and these things will be should be ensured at the individual level. That will be one direction. Thereafter next discussion will be with respect to the community, like the disparity between different communities, and for that matter nowadays the reservation is required because there is disparity, the historical injustice, because at that very time the just society was not there, justice had not been done in the historical past, and for that matter that is being rectified. So that will again be a point of discussion. Next point of discussion will be regional. So there are regions like the northeast region that was not so developed with respect to those of the plains region. The hilly regions are not so developed with respect to the plain regions. The coastal regions are more developed with respect to the plateaus region. So such kind of discussion with respect to the regional disparity and the justice is needed with respect to the region for the development matter. That will be one direction of discussion. Next, national level. At the national level, different states are having different level of development. Again, that should be a direction of discussion, right? Then world level. Here again, different nations. बुरुंडी का कंपैरिजन कर दीजिए, ठीक है, सब साहारन countries, right? So this kind of the discussion should be there to depict the unjust society that is in existence over there at different levels, from the individual level to the global level, right? And thereafter you will have to discuss about the present day significance of charity, because there was lack of justice, there was lack of equal distribution of resources, opportunity and other things, and because of that present day there is need of charity. And what are the causes of the need of charity? First of all, historical injustice that was done with respect to caste, class, gender, religion, region, etc. So you have to elaborate all these things in your paragraph so as to make it clear why the charity is needed, because in the historical past the just society was not there, justice had not been done. For that matter there is need of charity. Next, developed and developing and underdeveloped countries in the world. So with this respect you also have to write some paragraphs, 1 or 2 paragraphs. Climate change, you should mention the example of climate change, and here again there is no justice between the developed countries and underdeveloped and developing countries. The developed countries are not doing the justice. They should have done the transfer of technology and funding the development or the improvement of the energy security, the circumstances in the underdeveloped and the developing countries, so as to they are in position to shift their technology, to shift their energy requirements and the other things in a direction which should be environment friendly, which should not promote the climate change. So here again it comes to the common but differentiated responsibilities, right? So here again common but differentiated responsibilities should be, the philosophy should be followed upon, should be upheld, right? Now the charitable trusts of the corporate houses, again mention this also, many of the corporate houses are running the charitable trust like the Ajim Premji Foundation, Tata Trust, Tata Foundation. So various trusts and foundations are working in India and throughout the world. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation you will find. So likewise various foundations are working, and they are trying to eradicate the injustice, trying to address the injustice that had occurred in the past, and to redistribute the resources so as to eradicate the injustice. In fact, not to say that, leave it, right? So now in the conclusion you should write, reduce the inequality and disparity, which will reduce the need of justice, ensure that will reduce the need of charity, ensure justice to everybody, and reduce the need for charity, right? Now the last essay of section B, and again it was a very good statement, very important statement, which was quite interesting. Here it says that education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in the school. And this was the statement, this was the quote that was given by well-known scientist, that was Albert Einstein, right? And what was the theme? Education shapes the personality of a person and influences his action throughout the life, right? So that is the thing. Now what is the meaning of this statement? Different person and fields perceive education in different contexts. First of all, education can be perceived differently by different people in the context of learning, in the context of type of education and other things. So here education is there in every walk of life. Many people get educated with the passage of time. जैसे लोग कहते हैं मैच्योर हो गया, मतलब एक लेवल अचीव कर लिया, so that he can understand the things, he will have the rational outlook, he should implement the logic behind that and the other things, right? So that is the thing. It influences the individual, society, community, nation, etc. So definitely the education influences everything, right? So here education in India is since prehistoric times, that was in the form of gurukuls, guru shishya culture, right? So education in India was since ancient time. These things should be there in your introduction of your essay, right? Now what are the differences between the education and schooling? Again the people will say that ye kya hai ab? Schools are providing the education, and how can the education and the schooling will be different? There may be the question in your mind, but it is so because wisdom and academic knowledge are different things. You may say that every literate is not an educated, and every educated is not necessarily a literate. ठीक है, ये मैं बहुत लोगों को बहुत बार कहता हूं, बिकॉज वो ढाक के 3 पात वाले काम करते हैं, है ना? वही लकीर, एक ही लकीर जो खींच गई है उसी को पीटते रहना है, बस वही काम है. सो हियर विजडम is a different thing. Many of the people who were not so literate, you can say they had not studied to that level of schooling, were having a very good wisdom. Their decisions were quite good. So they had learned, they had got educated practically by experience in their life, right? So true education inculcates the value system, character, rationality in a person. True education is the inculcating of the value system, the ethical values, the moral values. Okay? So such kind of things should be there. It is not needed that if you are an IITian, then you will have a good moral and ethical values. It is not a necessary thing. और कहाँ मैं पॉइंट आउट करना चाह रहा हूँ, बहुत सारे लोग सही जगह पे पहुंचेंगे भी, राइट? सो दैट मे बी द थिंग. सो हियर it is not necessary that the character will be there within the person, the rationality will be there, and exposure to the diverse culture, history, technology, perspective, etc. is there due to education, right? So that will be there due to education. It promotes the moral and ethical values in the person, right? So education promotes the moral and the ethical values, but that again, that is true. Every educated person is not a literate person, and every literate person is not an educated person. The degree, सिंपल सी बात ध्यान रखिएगा, जो डिग्री आपके पास है वो आपके एजुकेशन का सर्टिफिकेट नहीं है, वो आपके द्वारा अदा की गई फीसों की रसीद है और कुछ नहीं है। एजुकेशन आपके अंदर है, वो डिग्री में नहीं है। जो डिग्री के सर्टिफिकेट है आपके पास, वो आपके द्वारा अदा की गई, आपके द्वारा पेमेंट की गई स्कूल कॉलेज की फीसों की रसीद है, जो परमानेंट है और कुछ नहीं है। ठीक है, चलिए। सो हियर develops the ability to differentiate between just and unjust action. So this kind of ability, this kind of logical mind, this kind of rationality should develop in your mind, that you should differentiate between just and unjust action. And if you are not capable of doing that, then it doesn't mean that you are an educated person, no matter how much literate you are, right? Now here comes the importance of education. So it is ability to change with time. You have to be acceptable, you have to flexible in your outlook, you have to change with time, you have to accept the modernity, you have to accept the changing circumstances around you. That is education, right? Personal growth should be there. Day by day your knowledge base, your rationality, your logical reasoning, your mind should go on develop, right? That is coming from education. Growth in career, there should be growth in career. Your career should go on to grow. There is problem solving ability that should develop in your mind, your actions, right? So you should have the problem solving attitude. कोई issue आए तो ऐसे नहीं भागो एक तरफ भगली. So that should not be there. Develop confidence. The education should develop confidence in you. That I will do is, I have to listen to these things, you have to analyze these kind of things, and thereafter we can solve the issue, right? So that confidence should be there. Communication skill should be there. The good communication skill is the need of day-to-day life. You have various words in your vocabulary of every language, but the selection of that communication, the vocabulary is the communication skill. If you select the wrong words, then the same person will start hitting you with his shoes to you, and thereafter if you are doing the correct selection of words, then that same person will stand up from his seat and he may offer you the seat. Sir, आइए बैठिए. So that communication skill, how to say, what to say, where to say, that will come from education, right? Next, social acceptability will be there. Most of the literate and educated person in fact, have the social acceptability. Like many of the people, so doctor sahab hai, बैठने दो, so he is a doctor. Such kind of attitude comes in the society, that increases the social acceptability. Innovation and creativity comes from the education itself, because every knowledge, every theory, every creative thing have some foundation, have some base that is needed over there, and that comes from education. Basically you have received the foundation from that education. Now you can develop and create new things, new innovations on that foundation. So what will be in conclusion? Education for all should be there to ensure the development of the country, society, individual, everybody, right? So ensure the education for all. Child centric education should be there. Every children should have a better education in the vernacular language, in the local language, mother tongue, so that he can understand it better. तो रट्टाफिकेशन नहीं होगा, लिटरेट नहीं बनेंगे, एजुकेटेड बनेंगे, right? Gender equality should be there. Still there is great gender disparity within India with respect to education, so that should also be eradicated. This should also be in your conclusion. And ensure the development of personality. Ultimately सिर्फ सबको लिटरेट नहीं बनाना है, overall development of personality. Everybody should be having a better education, personality development. ठीक है? So this was the discussion of the complete essay paper. Thank you very much for joining us and watching the video till the end. And if you have watched the video till the end, then please consider subscribing the channel and press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new videos. If you liked the videos, then please consider sharing the videos with your friends also. And you can also follow us on our Facebook and Instagram handle. This is our Twitter handle. And you can also download our app, as well as you can visit our website for various study materials, resources, current affairs, etc. Here we finish off. Thank you very much and have a nice day.